up, the crisis is chronic at Real Madrid. Just how long does Zidane have left? Landon Donovan is set to play in Mexico. Captain America returns from retirement again. And all good things must come to an end. City's unbeaten run was undone by Liverpool. All topics on the show tonight. Welcome to our panel. Ray Hudson, Christine Vieri, Thomas Rongan and Gary Bailey. Let's get started with Real Madrid losing 1-0 to Villarreal at the weekend. They are now 19 points behind Barcelona in La Liga, and in an exclusive post-match interview with beIN Sports, Toni Kroos spoke candidly about his side's objectives this season. Here are his comments.
We have to first, in our position at the moment, we have to look that we were to qualify for the Champions League next year. That's I think this must be our goal for the rest of the season, because 16 points is far away. It's not. I think it's not at the moment what we have to think about. The moment we have to think about the next game to win, to get the points, to get sure to come to the second or third place.
Thank you very much, Sonny.
So it was 16 points on Saturday when he spoke. Then Barcelona won their game in Anoeta, so it became 19 points. He's the first Real Madrid player to actually say something so frankly about the team. Most of them have been saying, yeah, you know, for as long as the league title is still in our sights, we'll fight for it. Was he right to say that?
You know, here's the thing, Kate, you can't tell the truth. I mean, the reality is, if you meet a footballer who's not good, you can't say to him, you're a garbage footballer. You say, you know, it takes a little bit of work. And the same with players. You can't come out and say, you've got to qualify. Yes, that's the truth, but the fans want to hear that you can still win the league title, and maybe Barcelona lose 5 on the trot and you keep going.
I think they've passed that stop, Gary. I think the Madridistas really recognise what's going on now.
And they don't want to hear the positive talk.
You don't want that false papering over the cracks, in my opinion.
Which
Thomas.
you've heard for months now, right? I agree.
The guy came out, said what was right.
Yep.
Hey, he needs to get his own act together as well, because he ain't playing. He's the most expensive player in that Real Madrid midfield, the highest paid player. Right. He's not playing well.
Man, they should have won 7-0.
They should.
Come on. This is unlucky. They're so unlucky. No, they're so unlucky.
How long can you say you're unlucky? They've done it from the start of the season. That's Zidane's mantra. All the players, we have possession, we're unlucky, we can score. Come on, sooner or later, Bobo, you got to say, let's go.
But what do you suppose? If you're the coach, after that game they play, what are you going to say to the team?
I'm going to say for the 12th time again, we're unlucky. No, I'm going to get up.
Say the truth.
I'm going to get up and I'm going to say, you know what?
What?
Ronaldo, you're the leader. You're the leader, Kroos.
Okay,
here we go. Let's play.
I agree, but sometimes you have those years that you have a hard time.
And Zidane, in his manner, they've had the closed-door meetings. They've had the president. I mean, this isn't schoolboy football. These are the best players on planet Earth. They know the predicament they're in. Zidane does as well. The president does. They're not putting the ball away. It's like Bobo says, Thomas. The ball ain't going in for them. Now, you're right in saying that you've got to step up. Cristiano Ronaldo,
but they are, right?
Maybe, and Marcelo, these were the untouchables. Something's got to change. The house is on fire. Cristiano, we're having a rest. Marcelo,
and who's going to play? Who's going to play? Am I going to play for Ronaldo? Who's on the bench?
Look at the stats. 29 shots in that match, and they didn't score.
Jeez.
There was 2 penalty appeals, and we broke it down on the weekend. Both were penalties for me. So at the end of the day, this is one of the games where they were unlucky. I think to Thomas's point, there's been some games where they haven't been unlucky. They've just been. So here's one other thing. Last season, they scored a lot of goals in the last few minutes. This season, after the 86, nothing. Is the commitment there?
You know what?
You go. No, you go.
I was just going to say, you know, the mentality in football is often very, very underrated. And it's not given the right credence a lot of times. The mentality in this team now is what needs to be adjusted. That's where it starts. Because I'm seeing a Real Madrid team that's working their backsides off. They're playing hard. They're playing well. Everything's going right. But the mentality of this team is that they're saying that we don't know what's wrong.
Well, you know why? Because they're doing everything.
Exactly.
What are you going to say to Ronaldo? Train times a day? What are you going to say? Marcelo, cross the ball better? Sometimes, Ray, you don't know. We try to find an answer. But when I play, I've lost games.
Sure.
I did 1 year with Inter.
It's football.
We were 6th last. We're losing games against everyone. Why? You don't know. You don't always have an answer.
Can I give you one possible answer to this? is last season there were real quality on the bench that could scare you.
And
you know what? No,
but
players are players. And as the season goes on, it's easy to put in 98%, not 100%, because there's no one to take the place.
Zidane is in charge of the worst Madrid team in recent years. Right now, let's be real honest. I agree, mentality. I look at you, Bobo. You've played at the highest level here. You had guys in the locker room everywhere you played that maybe looked at each other and said, okay, we have to do this without Zidane. Let's go. Am I correct?
Yes, but when I watch them play, I don't see players that they don't care.
That's right.
Everyone's playing, everyone's running, everyone's giving. They just don't have the results. So that's how I see it.
Is that what's buying Zidane some time right now? Because there's a report in Diario AS, a Spanish newspaper today, that says he has a month.
Don't mention the papers to Bobo. I told you before.
He has a month to impress, and obviously that month takes us right up to the 14th of February against PSG. How long do you see him in this job?
No, this is going to be an interesting discussion here, because my thought is that if they lose against PSG, as brilliant as he has done, and he has been brilliant, I get the sense that Real Madrid will give in to the end of the season and say, right, we're bringing somebody in. It's the way Real Madrid have done it. So, in my book, PSG is his big Waterloo. It's his big moment. If he gets through that, maybe he's got a chance of staying. If he goes out, I reckon he's done.
Okay, on that theme, let me tell you. In 1997, Real Madrid finished 7th, won the Champions League. In 1999, they finished 5th. Won the Champions League. So
what are we talking about?
Real Madrid, Madridistas, don't give up hope. You're going to win the Champions League as long as you finish in 4th or 5th in La Liga.
You know, I think that you can't base everything on one game against Paris Saint-Germain. You can't.
He'll win nothing
Gary,
then.
But soccer's not like that. You're going to have years. So what are they going to do in PSG? What about Bayern? Everyone's going to shoot them.
He will lose his job.
There's no teams that don't win. What's Man City? They spent €3 billion in the last 7-8 years. They've won nothing.
There's no manager in Real Madrid's history that has won as much as Zidane in such a short time. There has never been a more iconic footballer that's managed ever that's won as much as Zidane. Maybe Guardiola. You can argue that. I think they'll give him the credit, but I tell you what, they're going to have to get players in next year.
There are some signs right now that would scare me if I was making the decisions for Real Madrid. And the reason being is, I don't want any reinforcements. I believe in my players.
He's stubborn.
But you know what?
He's too stubborn.
He is contradicting himself.
Right.
He made 2 subs in the last game, not 3. Where's Ceballos? In the stands.
Right.
Where is our boy Mayoral? The only other forward is warming up for 45 minutes. It's not being used. He doesn't try. He's saying right now, I don't trust my players.
Another one, Theo Hernandez now. You've got to look at Marcelo and think, and everybody knows how much I love Marcelo. It's not going right for him. Kovacic might need to be brought in with the other one that you said, Ceballos. These are players now. They've got to turn to.
The young kids, you can't put them in at the Bernabeu when the crowd is going nuts and burn the kids. I think he's doing the right thing.
So you bring in Asensio and Vasquez from Isco and Bale? 0-0 at home?
But you know why? They're already used to play. Where are we going?
We've got to move. We will be returning to Real Madrid a little later in the show, and we will ask if there are any truth in the rumours that Cristiano Ronaldo wants to return to Manchester United. But there you go, that's the front page in Diario AS today. Cristiano wants to go to Manchester United. They say that he's upset at the moment with his contract situation at Real Madrid. We'll touch on those. Still to come, did Liverpool's win over Man City at the weekend give us some insight into what is the most effective style of football right now? And is the Premier League really going to be welcoming back Cristiano Ronaldo? We've also got some gorgeous goals to show you too. We'll be right back on The Locker Room. Welcome back to The Locker Room. Now, Real Madrid's collapse this season is weird, right? Italy not making the World Cup, also completely unexpected. Yet none of these are as bizarre as what happened in Ligue 1 this weekend.
What happened, Kate?
Referee Tony Chaperon, what were you thinking? Check this out. Nantes PSG. So the Diego Carlos player in the last minute of the game, PSG to accidentally cross paths with the ref. Ref stumbles and then kicks the player.
If it just hugged him, loses his head completely and kicks out him. You know what? That's what I would have done as well.
What?
I would have kicked the player.
No, come on.
I would have.
But right now he's been...
That's the type of referee I would have been.
been
That's the player you were, but not the referee.
He's been suspended.
I'd have carried it on in the referee.
Suspended indefinitely.
Yeah.
He would have officiated a game.
Who, the
coming
player
up next.
was?
No, the referee
The
was.
player should
Let
have
me
been
ask you
fined.
something. You think this player plays next Sunday?
You mean they'll turn around the red card?
They're appealing the yellow, yes.
Absolutely,
Nanta,
he'll
yeah.
play.
The thing
He'll
is,
play.
All right.
we're asking what were you thinking? The referee definitely froze. It was just emotion. And like
I don't know what he was thinking. Now, in other strange goings-on at the weekend, Barcelona finally broke the curse of Anoeta, a ground that they hadn't won at in La Liga since 2007. Lionel Messi's lovely free kick completed the 4-2 comeback win for the Blaugrana. Here's a look at that. But did this game and the next we're about to discuss show us that trends are changing in football? Possession stats in this one: 49% Real Sociedad, Barcelona 51%. Not the usual figures that you see with a Barcelona game. So, are we seeing that keeping hold of the ball is not the best tactic
Just
in the
want
game
to say
right
before
now?
Thomas starts on this, because he's got his great soliloquy that he rightfully should get
What I
into.
have to hear in this.
The
this
midfield
country.
for Barcelona wasn't that type set up for that sort of possession, and
For a reason. I'm
Real
sure.
Sociedad played tremendously well. But Tommy,
For a reason. If you look at Valverde on the road, if Iniesta doesn't play, it's either Gomes or Dennis Suarez. You know, not any of the four are players that can make it. So you rely on Messi. But they're saying is, if we keep the 0, we'll score 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, or 5. So 50-50. They'll outpossess most teams, though. They're an outlier still. But if I look at Atleti, if I look at Liverpool, I just looked at that. You know what? Everybody, Liverpool attacks, possession. No. You know what? Liverpool against Sevilla, 30-70 for Sevilla. Liverpool, Chelsea, 52 for Chelsea. That doesn't attack 48. Arsenal, Liverpool, 55. Arsenal, 45. City last game. So in the big games, Liverpool concedes
Well, let's
possession
say what it was.
and is more
Liverpool
effective.
36%
Thank
to
you, Kate.
City 64%, and the winners were Liverpool 4-3.
Can I say one more thing, Bob? Sorry. It's called TIT. All right? Team, individual.
TIT?
No,
Wait, I'm gonna write this down.
That means someone else, doesn't it?
No.
Hey, you put it on a T and an S, and we're okay.
Let me finish here. Come on.
Write it down!
Don't write it down. No, the TIT means team, individual tendencies and tactics. And teams right now, they have a purpose. They're more effective. And you know what? If you look at all those teams that have less possession, they're more effective in their pass accuracy, Rocky, in the final third.
Tommy.
They've got less shots on goal, but their shot
But let me
accuracy
just ask you
is
about some
higher
stats
than
here.
anybody
Hang on a
else.
sec. Thomas,
Hang on. Let me just finish here, you know. It depends on if you play at home and in the road. I know you guys are not coaches. I think about that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I have to.
But I've got
in
a
order to put my
question
team
for you.
in a position to win. Go ahead.
Manchester United won today with 60% possession.
Yeah, who are they playing?
Real Betis, okay, Stoke. Real Betis beat
That's what I
Leganés
mean.
with 68%.
Gary,
Nice beat Amiens with
that's a
50%.
stupid.
So,
those are
but hang on a
bad
sec.
examples.
One team has to have more possession than the other.
I understand. We're talking about Liverpool, Atleti
So
right
what
now.
must I do? Give the ball to the opposition?
Atleti gives the ball to a lower team, all right, and still wins, like they've done in the last 5 games.
Are you saying that
That's
as a team, I must give the ball away to the opposition because I'm better off without it?
Yeah.
So everyone's going to give the ball away?
In 1979 said, you know what, this is not Ajax, this is not total football, this is not Barcelona, you know what, you guys are not good. So you know what, we're better without the ball,
All right.
Friedrich Spiegel
Some
said.
teams.
so hold on. So,
We've got to move. Go
Sorry,
on.
guys,
We have
sorry,
to.
sorry.
how do we answer that? We've got a Dutchman
need an hour and a half.
that invented total football, saying we don't want the ball.
You should go coach. No, I didn't say that, Rob. Okay. I want to, you know me, I love to attack.
Right.
But current teams, big teams right now, are very
Defensive,
effective tactically saying, you know what, fine.
All right,
Think
round
that'll
the
let
table
Barcelona.
now. No, maybe not.
Can we talk about this, please?
Well, we'd like to. We'll return
next
to
year.
this subject because the front page of Diario AS today said that Cristiano Ronaldo wants to leave Real Madrid and return to Manchester United because the player feels betrayed by his club for not keeping their word and renewing his contract. Christian's laughing at this. Is this just paper talk?
If I'm him, I go to Man United straight away.
Absolutely.
Why?
Because he's whistled in nearly every game. He's not treated right. You get out of there.
Yeah.
Go away. They want you. They love you, and they treat
I
you good.
love it. Keep
Always.
saying that. Keep
Whoever the
saying
player is.
Keep
Always.
saying it.
Do you really think there's any truth in these rumours?
No, I really don't. But, you know, I think the Madridistas love Cristiano Ronaldo more than anybody, as much as Barcelona fans love Lionel Messi. But when he's playing bad, Cristiano, like Keylor Navas does, like every other one that ever played, they get booed. That's what happens.
When you've got players that give everything,
yeah,
and everyone knows that he's a lunatic when he trains, he gives everything. You don't whistle a player when he scores a goal a game for 5, 6, 7 years.
He wants to be
gives
loved,
everything.
He does. He wants to be loved. I agree with you. He's a fantastic player. Gives everything. And he's probably looking at Messi, where Messi gets now double his wages, double what Cristiano earns, what Messi earns. And this thing, I've won 3 Ballon d'Ors in the last 4.
Right.
I want the same sort of contract.
Right.
And if the man who owns the club or runs the club is not coming forward saying we're going to sign you up and give you whatever you want, you start to look somewhere else where you will be.
It's bad time.
Appreciated. Man United is that player.
That's a great word.
Thomas is right. The timing of it is, it couldn't be any worse. When they're in crisis and now their star player, who was looked after better than anybody, says, I want more money.
So
and it's not the best time.
So when you win a game, you go ask money. When you lose, you know, what is this? What is this? We're gambling here. We're in Las Vegas.
Should have been looked after.
We'll let you
by the
continue
boss as
arguing
well.
in the break. We missed. Christian Vieri chose a What I Loved. We didn't have any What I Loved today, but because of this one, we allowed him to have it. Neymar's nutmeg.
This is one of the best players in the world. Look at this is training. The game, he's waiting for the second player to go. Look at the tunnel. Look at the nutmeg. The nutmeg. That's what it's called. What a player, man. What a player. Look at this nutmeg. That's very hard. You know who he reminds me of?
Corinthians.
No, the Brazilian Ronaldo that I used to play in Inter. He always used to do these things here.
Ronaldo
Always.
So there you go.
Before against Manchester City certainly lived up to expectations and then some. Craig, it's the first time we've had the chance to really talk to you about it. What do you make of the game?
Happy.
Hey. He wasn't sure if he was happy yet. He didn't decide.
Well, he's
for the most part.
I mean, he's got to think about these things.
I know.
No, but it was a great game. It was, and it was I mean, it's not a surprise Liverpool won. Because on the game going forward, and the way they started the game was just phenomenal, the pace. Then, like, don't listen to what all the media and people like us are saying, how great you are, and we got work to do here, and if we do make mistakes, teams will take advantage of us. So I think, actually, whilst it was a much bigger result for Liverpool in terms of the top 4, it was a bad day at the office for Man City, but in terms of a kick up the backside, for half doing Pep Guardiola's job for him, then he can go in and Monday, today, whatever day during the week and say, hey, if you think you're the world beaters yet, that's a reminder.
Do you agree, Steve?
Yeah. And I think particularly as well, the unbeaten streak, there's no question, something like that does start, you do start thinking about it.
Really? You said you had that at Liverpool.
Yeah, we went once in, I think it was 88, we went 29 games undefeated, and I can honestly say that at times I thought about it, and then when we lost to Everton, that whole thing went, it was great, it was like a weight off your shoulders. So that's what happened to City.
From Liverpool's perspective, you look ahead and they're away against Swansea this weekend. You know, after seeing that performance, you think, well, they could go, you know, the rest of the season unbeaten. Why shouldn't they? But there is that kind of niggling thought at the back of your mind, is that, can they keep this up?
Well, it depends what side of the game we're talking about here. Can they keep this up? I mean, the amount of physical effort and the performance against City, you shouldn't underestimate. You know, to close the ball for 90 minutes is nigh on impossible. You ask any pro that's ever tried it. But Liverpool seemed to be able to do that. Now, at the end of the game, they threw goals away, but going forward, no question they can do this till the end of the season. Again, we're back to where the old story about Liverpool's back line, you know, if you've got to score 4 every time you step on the field.
And a huge success off the back of the Merseyside derby.
And I'm assuming he would have made a difference. But at the end of the day, we're talking about one guy here. Liverpool have a real problem with the defensive unit. I'm not bad with Matip beside him. I think there's a problem at right back. And Robertson, as great a game as he had, you know, he hasn't solidified that spot yet.
Despite his performance against it, everyone was waxing lyrical about his performance.
Because it was an old-fashioned fullback's performance. The tactics that Liverpool set up, both Gomez and him, you didn't see Gomez and Robertson away high up chasing. They kept solid and played like old-fashioned fullbacks. Liverpool won't do that every week. But the one glaring hole that you cannot fill by signing defenders is a goalkeeper. I mean...
What happens now? Because obviously Carrick's at fault for the first goal.
Well, he pretty much said Karras is in goals unless he's basically said to Mignolet, and he said, well, I don't know if he's told him, but he certainly told the media publicly, if Karras plays well, he stays.
But is that opening goal, that error, significant enough for Klopp to readdress going forward who's his #1 goalkeeper?
No, because one's as bad as the other.
Right.
You kind of, whichever one you go with, you still got a problem. They need to go and get a proper #1 goalkeeper.
By the way, there's no way Alberto Moreno can come back into that team ahead of Robertson. No, and people say, oh, yeah, but Moreno's good going forward. I tell you what, he cannot cross a ball like Robertson.
Right.
Robertson's arguably one of the top 3 or 4 in the Premier League at whipping balls into the box down that left side. So in that sense, he's as good going forward, and he's better defensively.
Another defeat for Real Madrid this weekend, but Toni Kroos says, hey, don't worry. It's true that this is a difficult time for us and all Madridistas, but everybody who says we played a bad game today has no idea of football. It was a good performance and we have to continue. Still a lot to win this season. Well, they're definitely not going to win the league, that is for sure. 19 points off Barca. It's been a horrible start to the season for Zinedine Zidane. The fewest points since 05-06. Lost consecutive home games for the first time since 09. And they have dropped 22 points this season. The whole campaign, when they won the league last year, they dropped only 21.
That was Villarreal's 19th attempt at winning at the Bernabeu.
First Sunday,
by the way,
I
did that Saturday. By the way, Benitez had 5 more points when he got sacked.
Yeah, completely.
The only reason he's there is because, obviously, the huge success...
He's got money in the bank.
Well,
that's it.
Yes.
I think it's fair to say if it was any other coach, I think they'd be gone.
Well...
How much money does he have in the bank, though?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? It's all down to the PSG game, surely.
I'm not sure any other coach would have been gone.
I think so.
Not if they had had the same success in that shot.
Oh, yeah, of course, that's a given. But say a coach had just been brought in at the start of the season and this happened,
and
they're
they
gone.
had back-to-back Champions League. Oh, they wouldn't even be within 100 square miles of Madrid. But... I mean, PSG's the one, isn't it?
What about this game? What about the game against Villarreal that Toni Kroos says was a good performance?
Well, they had lots of chances again, and but the keeper played well. They're not finishing well, and I have to be honest. I was watching a couple of games coming in. I think it was because it was Saturday morning here in the US when that was on. Every time I looked up, Villarreal were in the counter-attack and looked dangerous at times. So it's not just they're not putting the ball in at one end; they're still looking fragile at the other.
And nobody's mentioned that. That's the first time, other than you and I talking off air, that we've spoken about Villarreal. But was Toni Kroos actually watching the game in the second half? Because you can say that they had chances, but there were shots from 30, 35 yards. They had one clear chance. They had one chance in the first half where you can say that should have been a goal, and that was when Ronaldo put it wide. Other than that, they never made a clear-cut chance.
If you're Zidane, how do you play this?
You've got to eat humble pie. You've got to come out with all the cliches in the world.
But not to the media, but to the players. How do you get this group back together and putting in performances as they did last year?
The only way you can do it is by going around them, talking to them, making sure that when you're training, everybody's bubbly, people are not walking around with their head between their legs. You have to try and recreate some sort of atmosphere to get your players back in line.
And what doesn't help, of course, is Barcelona continuing this sensational start to the season. 2-0 down away against Real Sociedad, 4-2. Luis Suarez with a couple of goals, one of them an absolute belter. This is a man who we've questioned over the last few months, whether or not maybe he's lost a touch, but he's certainly got it off the basis of what we saw at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, the trouble is for some of these Barca players, and I suppose Real Madrid, but they're struggling at the moment, they've set such high standards that whenever they fall below, everybody jumps on them, particularly Real Madrid. But people were saying, oh, Neymar's not there anymore, so Suarez and Messi, not quite the same. Suarez, he might lose that little bit of pace, but he's still a clever footballer.
Any side that gets annihilated for 40 minutes and is 2-0 down and comes back and wins 4-2, it tells you at least one thing. They've got the heart for a fight. So as good as they are, as much quality as they have, both the players and the manager know when things are going to get tough, because invariably at times they do, they know that they can get through anything. If they can get through that, they can get through anything.
And credit to Valverde, yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
he's instilled it in them. He's instilled that heart in that fight. As bad as they were for 40 minutes, they can come back and win comfortably.
All right, boys. Barca looking good at Real Madrid. It's certainly not.
The referee in case has been suspended, obviously, by the French league. He has apologized tonight to Diego Carlos, the non-player that he tried to kick. I don't think we will ever see him. I think that's his career done, basically. Yeah. But just when you think about it, you just... What was he thinking? It's crazy.
Has he got a history? Has he got a story? Has he got a personality to do these sort of things?
Yes, he's a very arrogant and a bit of a loose cannon. He's insulted players before. He talked really badly to certain players during matches, got caught a bit, got some sort of dropped before from the Liga matches schedule and everything like that. So it's not... I would say, of course, it's unexpected because you never think like a referee could do that. But coming from him, again, he's the one that could have been doing something like this in France.
Julian, thank you for it. Think of the number of referees who wanted to kick you.
I know plenty of refs that will give you verbal.
Yeah. You've never seen anything like that before?
No, that's brilliant.
It is brilliant, isn't it?
US soccer legend is going to play for Club Leon in the Liga MX on a one-year deal. Do you think he still has what it takes to excel there, or is he putting his legacy at risk?
Leonard is a very interesting guy that I know going all the way back to the under-17 residency program that produced Beasley and Lennon Donovan that did so well for Bruce Arena in the 2002 World Cup when Lennon Donovan arrived from the scene. One thing, yes, he's 36. He's the fittest player, Bobo, I've ever seen.
Almost 36.
He can work in the red zone, we call that, for long periods of time. That might, for me, mean a heart attack. It's incredible. So I'm not concerned that he's not going to be fit. But my concern right now is Leon is in second place. They almost beat Tigres in the Clausura. They got a Colombian Argentina. They got some good guys going forward. 180,000, and you bring him in as a sub. So I'm not so sure why the reasons are, but I love he speaks Spanish. Well done, he's eccentric. He went to Tibet. I know you do.
I speak a poquito.
Okay, they give you 200,000 a month right now at Club America. Would you go?
I don't know about this legacy because you Americans always talk about the legacy or this crap there. I prefer. He's 36. For me, he retired too early, two times already. Go have fun.
The thing is that, guys, we're talking about the most accomplished American footballer in the history of the game here. I mean, he carries a lot of legacy. I don't want to see Landon going and having a bad time, even though the money's going to be spectacular. Personally, hey, listen, we all want him to succeed, and maybe he will. He knows his body. He's a good footballer still,
but
and we saw it in LA.
It's not going to be easy for him.
It's not going to be easy, and that's what he likes.
The problem is,
once that challenge, man,
it's a tough league.
It's the last time, though.
Bobo, you went to China.
I'm the one that retired the latest out of all three of you.
Yeah.
What you doing at home? Zero. Nothing.
Yeah.
Go play. Go have fun.
But maybe play at a different level. That's a tough level.
But okay, but what's the difference? First division, second division.
Go
there, have fun, get some money. You're going to be fit again. You're going to score some goals.
I hear you. When you try to make a comeback at, what was it, 44? To go to China? You went hard. No, was it easy for you?
I was trying to fool the Chinese.
That's 10 years old now. Listen, Joaquin scored today for Betis, and he's 36.
Don't forget to click subscribe.